Hello guys, once again it's Matt and today we have another video. Thank you all the members, all the patrons, make sure to subscribe and let's get into it. So today I wanted to talk a little bit about the future of War Thunder. Will we see a lot of paper aircraft in the future of War Thunder? My short answer is I don't think so. I think we had, obviously we are talking about this because there is a lot of controversial talks about the Ak-41 and also mainly the F-16 AJ, which is kind of a paper aircraft, right? And the Ak-41, yeah, technically it is kind of a paper aircraft, but the model was produced in very small quantities, but like just the prototypes, but still it was accepted for trials, for acceptance for service, right? For production. So it is a semi-production aircraft, while the AJ is more of a paper aircraft, but still people are complaining about that, right? And I give you the reason. I mean, it is complicated to see aircraft that are just kind of impossible to exist, or it didn't exist, or anything like that. But to be honest, guys, we had this for a very long time. We had this since day one. The Horton is there, still in the game for you to research. You still fly that UFO kind of flight model. And yeah, it's there. A lot of props. There is some prop, not a lot of props, but there are some props that are in that kind of area, gray area as well. There are some even that are really paper aircraft, like the R2Y2 that are still there. But why? Because Japan needs it. So I think there is two reasons why we will see more of these aircraft in the future. Of course, Gaijin wants to add just production models that were fully produced. It's way easier to get information on it. It's just a lot easier for everything else to be balanced for everything else. But there is one factor. There's two factors actually. One of them is holes in the tech tree. So many of these tech trees will have big holes that need to be filled. So we had that with Germany post-war with tanks and aircraft. We had that with Japan post-war. There's holes there. We are going to have a hole between the 90s technology on the Soviet-Russian kind of side, just like we had with the tanks. And they will need to decide, or they jump this technology, and while that is happening, that country will not receive anything, and maybe wait 1 year to receive something, or they add this type of aircraft. So this is the main reason that I think it's kinda alright that they add this. I don't think it should be added for any single nation. I don't think we should see an F-20 Tiger Shark in the tech tree, for example. But it doesn't mean that other nations cannot receive that as well. The second reason for very interesting vehicles like that, it can be as a premium or as an event vehicle, right? This basically means that the aircraft can be added in a sense that it is fun to play and it's in the game, but it wasn't produced, so it has that going for it, you know? So it's two factors that I think it will be the only real additions for when paper aircraft are going to come to War Thunder. And I do think that they are coming. We are probably going to see more of those. Because the political arenas of the late 20th century made it so that the Soviet Union was kind of problematic, right? It collapsed. Russia, problematic economy. So yeah, we will have a problem like that, if the same way that we'd had with Germany. So yeah, we will have gaps to be filled and holes to be filled. And I think mainly the AJ feels a very massive kind of problematic thing that the Japanese tech tree had, but also the Ak-41 also does that. The Ak-41, if you don't consider it, please consider it. It is probably going to be one of the last aircraft in the Yakolev line. We don't know what they are going to do with more advanced aircraft. We don't know if the Sukhois will come in another tech tree, maybe under the Su-17. That wouldn't make sense, but still they can. We don't know what they are going to do, right? But the Yakolev might be the last aircraft that he ever gets there. Maybe the AK-130, but I doubt it. and the Yak-41 it is filling a hole there. Was it needed right now in the tech tree? I mean, I don't think so. The MiG-29 can hold its ground. It's an amazing aircraft, one of the best in the game, if not the best in the game. But just like the US, I mean, did the US needed 2 F-16s in the last patch? No, it did not, right? The F-14 was still amazing, and it still is. And 1 F-16 would be plenty. So Gaijin doesn't add only things that are needed. They add things that are fun and actually playable, and that can be a very good, thing for the game in other senses. Doesn't need to be everything. Doesn't need to be meta, and everything doesn't need to be like useful, or it needs to be in the game or whatever, right? And right now, they're building a very solid foundation for the future of War Thunder. You see that the US does have the F-16s, Germany will have the MiG-29, the USSR will have the MiG-29, and the Yak. Great Britain a little bit on the back foot, but they will have the EDV, but it's pretty much it on what it has to have, right? Japan will have the F-16, China the F-16, Italy the F-16, France the Mirage, Sweden the J-37D, which is amazing as well, and Israel the F-16. So it has a very, very good foundation on aircraft, and it can build rank 8 from that. And I think some of these nations, mainly the USSR in the future, in short future kind of situation, maybe Germany, the UK can be one, Japan is always one. Nations like that will have some troubles having more advanced aircraft from what they have now. Of course, the Soviets have the Su-27, but I mean later than that in the time frame, right? In the 90s, I mean. Every nation will have some kind of hole that you will need to be filled. And some of these nations are a little bit better off, some of these nations are worse off. And Japan is one of the worst ones. It is one of the most difficult ones to actually implement aircraft and have interesting vehicles that are produced in large numbers and then can be used and stuff. So this is kind of a way to do that. But I really, really, really doubt that we will see every nation getting paper aircraft. I doubt that we will see prototypes coming in the tech tree for the US, for example. The US has so many aircraft that can be added that it doesn't need it. If you take a look on the rank 6, 7, and 8 rank of the US, none of them in the tech tree are prototypes. None of them. If you compare to the USSR, for example, you can see that also for now it isn't. But if you look a little bit upwards, you can see the LA-200. You already can see some aircraft that are prototypes or something like that. The Su-9. You know, even the US will have some weird aircraft like the F-82 or aircraft like that. So everybody has kind of a low number aircraft, or it doesn't mean that it is paper aircraft, but a low production number aircraft or a prototype or something like that in the tech tree. Everybody has it. And the F-16AJ is just another one. The point is that a lot of people are complaining because it is really a paper aircraft, but, well, I mean, I am in the opinion that we needed to wait a little bit and get the F-15J, but we are going to get the F-16AJ anyway, so I guess it's fine, right? So, yeah, for Japanese mains, it's amazing. For everybody else, a lot of people are complaining, but think about your nation that you play the most. Imagine if the US didn't have any aircraft, and the only, imagine like if a 5th generation American aircraft never existed, and only the Russians and the Chinese had one in real life. But then there is this project, the YF-23, for example, that could be a thing, you know? People would want that, so it's kind of a bias thing. Honestly, I really think that it's a bias thing overall, but doesn't matter what I think, to be honest. Gaijin is adding the AJ, and even with people complaining, it's still going to be there, and people that play Japan will like a lot. People that don't play Japan, it's just another F-16 that we'll be fighting against. Pretend that it is a normal way, I guess. But anyway, leave it in the comments what you think the future of War Thunder will be like. Do you see a lot of paper aircraft coming up to the game or not? I don't see it. I see it only when really, really needed. So let me know in the comments to see how the community is. And I see you guys on the next one. So bye guys.